So my name is Sam. I'm the Partnerships and Communications Manager here at Fairygodboss. And if you didn't already know, Fairygodboss is the largest career community for women. We're on a mission to improve the workplace by increasing transparency, and we offer a ton of great free resources to do so. So before we get started, we'll be taking questions at the end and throughout, so leave them in the Q&A. You'll find them at the bottom of your screen, right next to your chat button. You can leave questions as yourself or anonymously, so don't feel guilty, don't feel shameful, ask whatever comes to mind. We'll also be sending out a recording of this webinar later today, so if you miss anything, you have to attend to your kids, or you want to rewatch it back later, you'll have the chance to do so. So I'm very excited to be joined by some fellow Fairygodboss co-workers today. So let's start off with some introductions. Georgie and Melina are here with me. Georgie, I'll start with you. What do you do at Fairygodboss, and how many children do you have, and can you tell us a little bit about their ages?
Sure. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Fairygodboss, and I have 3 children, 7, 5, and 2.
Awesome. And then Melina, how about you?
Hi, everyone. My name is Melina Owusu. I am the sales development representative at Fairygodboss. I have 2 children. The ages, my daughter actually turned 10 yesterday, and I also have a 6-year-old.
Happy birthday to your daughter. Tell her I said that.
I will tell her. I will let her know.
And now, Melina, are you kind of like just taking care of everything right now, or is anybody helping you out at home?
Well, thankfully, I have my husband who has been a great support system, especially given the times that we're in now. So we try to divide it as much as we possibly can, but he's taking a lot of the load in terms of teaching. But I, kind of dabble here or there, in between too, to help as well.
Awesome. And then Georgie, how about you?
I have a lot of help. I'm always like a person that needs a lot of help when it comes to kids. Always have been. So I also am with my husband who's working remotely, and he's been a great partner in all of this. But I also am lucky enough to still have my full-time nanny working. And so I'm actually one of the few parents I know who has that luxury of childcare while in this crisis.
Mm-hmm.
I think Sam is frozen.
Yeah, I think we lost Sam.
Well, while she's frozen, Melina, I wanted to find out, how was your birthday party for your 10-year-old?
So it was cute. I mean, we couldn't do like what you wanted. She definitely wanted to go out and, have a nice dinner, but couldn't do that. So we got her pizza. We got her a nice Carvel cake. And
well, I'm only asking because I know that part of our jobs is now to entertain them as well as to educate them while we're supposed to be working. And
so she was happy. She got up early in the morning, took care of herself, got dressed up,
Yeah.
We went to get pizza. I got the cake the day before, so.
Right. And how
nice and intimate.
How are you managing the work from home while watching the kids and educating them probably?
Yeah, I mean, it is a bit difficult. I mean, I'm very good at multitasking, but just trying to divide my attention between a 10-year-old and a 6-year-old because of the fact that when it comes to school, they're in different levels.
Mm-hmm.
So that's been, a bit difficult, but thankfully, my husband does help with that, so.
Was your school able to send you materials, or are you on spring break right now?
Yeah, no, the kids are doing e-learning using Google Classroom. So that's definitely been helpful. So we started this week Monday. In the beginning, it was like, oh, okay, what's going on here? There's a lot to kind of figure out here and how they submit their homework because they're not used to doing that. They're not used to typing on a iPad, and now they have to use that to read and type and, submit their work. So it's been quite interesting, but day by day, we're definitely getting the hang of it. And thankfully their teachers are very supportive as well. So we're able to reach them, FaceTime them, and they're able to help the kids too if there's something that we don't understand.
Yeah, so hey y'all, this is Mary, also with Fairygodboss, chiming in as our fearless colleague Sam Spica deals with some technical issues. So happy to pick up where we left off. It looks like we were discussing how y'all are keeping your kids busy and occupied while you're working from home.
Yeah, I was just asking Melina how she's managing. And because, I think what's really hard about working from home with kids is that every child is different. There's different ages, have different needs, and everyone has a different support system at home. Some people have extended family. I have my nanny. My kids are still on spring break, so I've given myself this week as a free pass on trying to educate them.
That is nice. And Georgine, you bring up a really good point, and I know you have 3 children, all at different ages. So what are some of the differences you found in terms of like dealing with your youngest to your oldest? Because, a toddler may not understand boundaries just yet.
Yeah, so they don't. Actually, not even my 7-year-old really does. So I actually had to just go into a separate place and lock the door. And I bring all of my food and my water with me. And for a little bit, I pretended I was going to New York because I'm not in the city anymore. I just I'm commuting by, and I would leave at my normal time and I would come back at the normal time. And that's basically how I've been managing. I'm very attached to my routines. And so immediately I was just trying to get back to that place, particularly because I can do it with my nanny.
Yeah. So Melina, what about you? What are some tricks that you've tried to kind of set those boundaries? We had one FGBer say she puts a sign on her laptop when she's on a call to let her kids know that she's in work mode. Have you tried anything similar?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't necessarily, I thought that was so funny to me and cool. But I haven't actually tried doing a sign, but if I'm going to be doing a webinar, or if I'm listening in on a webinar, or if I'm, having a conference call, I do let them know ahead of time, hey, I'm going to be locked up in this room. Please do not come in. And if you come in, please be as silent as you possibly can. So I just kind of let them know ahead of time. My kids are a little bit older, so it's easier for them to understand.
Yeah.
But that's just kind of what I've been doing. I always, as soon as I'm about 15 minutes before I'm going to get on, I just give them the heads up.
Yeah.
Our colleague actually couldn't make it today, but he has a 2-year-old, and I've noticed, because I've been in a lot of calls with him this week, often his child's really cute. His name is Ethan. He just comes and sits on his lap during conference calls. And he, it's very child dependent. His 2-year-old doesn't obviously understand boundaries, but he does understand what being quiet is. And he's pretty quiet while on these calls.
Yeah, I was on a call with him as well, and Ethan is quite smart. He was able to turn the TV on using Akshay's iPhone and stream a video. I was quite impressed. Quite impressed. So I think scheduling too is on top of a lot of working parents' mind as they're navigating this new situation. So Georgine, you mentioned your kids are on spring break currently, and Melina, I think your kids are probably done with spring break. It was last week, right?
No, they're not on spring break yet. Spring break is next month. So they're doing e-learning right now. They started this Monday. So last week was cool. They weren't doing anything. They was chilling around. And then now this week we had to kind of get them to that school routine. So I still have them wake up at the same time as if they were going to school. They get up, get ready, have breakfast, and then they log into doing their e-learning. So e-learning consists of multiple assignments. There's also a physical activity component as well. So me and my husband take turns. There's this thing called Go Noodle. I don't know if some of the parents have heard of it. But that's what they do to keep, at least their gym activity going on.
Yeah. So are you finding scheduling is really key to making sure everything that needs to get done gets done?
It has to be. Kids are, kids have been defined. They're used to a routine, right? Even before all of this happened, right? So they're used to getting up. They're used to getting ready. They have their breakfast, or if they don't have their breakfast, they know when they go to school, they're going to have breakfast. So they're used to that routine. They have science at this time. They have ELA at this time. They have math at this time. So they're very used to a routine. So I feel like if you don't continue that schedule, even though they're home, they can get sidetracked very easily and just think that they're just going to be home and just do whatever they want to do. And then once it's time for them to go back to school, then it becomes harder. So as long as we can keep, I know things happen here or there, but as long as you can kind of keep some sort of a schedule, it's going to help to transition in when school opens back up again.
Definitely. It's kind of like summer break. You get so used to just doing whatever you want. And then it's always such a rude awakening when you have to wake up early again to go back to school. Georgine, kind of the same question. How are you handling scheduling versus non-scheduling once your kids are back to normal schedule next week?
It's a great question. I actually don't even have instruction about e-learning and exactly how it's going to work because my kids are pretty young. So my oldest is in first grade and they're going to launch a first grade curriculum. But I don't know whether that means that he's going to be sitting in front of a computer from like 8:30 to 2:30. Or, I mean, Melina, you probably have some idea of what that entails.
The e-learning is not like a set time. They give them a due, like a.
I see. Okay, so it's up to you to schedule.
It's up to the parent to, tell your child what time to log in. You take attendance as soon as you log in. There's a link to take attendance.
I see.
And then there's a due date and time. So like my kids, they have up to 11:59 p.m. to submit their work.
Got it. Okay, so to answer your question, Mary, I'm going to have to get quickly on this scheduling train. And
I've helped a lot of parents, so please call me if you need any assistance.
So, I mean, one of the things but your larger question, and I want to touch on the work part of this, is that I try to make one calendar only. Like I don't try to keep it personal versus professional in this environment anymore. Even if I used to, I found it quite difficult. Now that's all over. There's only one calendar, and that one calendar, if it's a personal thing, I have my husband, tagged as an invitee, and I have my nanny tagged as an invitee, because in case I can't make it for some reason, everyone knows and get that calendar alert on their phone. And just like you pitched in for Sam, I just don't know if I can be there, even if I intended to be there at 11 a.m.
Yeah, that's a great segue into our next question. And we want to open this up for questions. So just a reminder, if you have a question or something you want to discuss, please feel free to drop it into the Q&A. But so how have y'all created the flexibility you need? I know you're both managing teams. Georgine, you're CEO of the company. We all have coworkers. How are you kind of creating that flexibility, and what are you finding what works best for you?
Melina, you want to go first?
Yeah, I definitely agree with Georgine in terms of having one calendar invite. I mean, I do have other inboxes that I use for my business as well. So I'll just add that email address to the invite. So at least my husband's on it too. And also, I know a lot of companies use Slack. So Slack, I try to update my status as much as possible. Like if it's lunchtime, I'll update it to lunchtime. If I'm helping with the kids, I'll put a message there helping with kids, so that if I don't respond to you, it's not because I'm ignoring you, but because I'm in the middle of something. So just trying to keep everybody up to date in terms of what I'm doing.
Yeah,
it's really hard. It's really hard to manage a company, a team. I think even yourself when you're in this situation. And one of the things that I've been really aware of is that every family situation and every type of job is different. Some people need to be on the phone all day because that's their job, and other people can, just do a lot of solitary work that they can shift around and after hours. I've noticed that a lot of the parents on my team are working after hours and early and sporadically, and I just, as the CEO, and I'm trying to lead by example, I just try to leave people alone when they tell me they have an issue. And the issues come in so many different flavors and sizes. Some parents are really comfortable sticking their child in front of a screen and others aren't. And this is not a time to be judging people or making them, some people just are really having a hard time with this, whereas others are just much more relaxed about multitasking. And their availability is going to really fluctuate. So I think in this situation, you just have to really, really over communicate. It's set statuses, make your calendar transparent, set your expectations with your manager about when best you can, what you are doing. I even have one person on my team who has just a running list of what they're going to try to tackle that day in priority order. And that might sound like overkill, but she's really just trying to keep me aware of what she's doing and her priority order in case she can't get it all done. Because I think we all have to accept that there's going to be some level of stuff that just doesn't get done the way we want to get done.
It's so true. And I was speaking with someone earlier this week, and I think what both of you just shared, it's really keeping open lines of communication to make this work, and just being really transparent about what's happening, both professionally and now personally, as we're kind of navigating this brand new integration. So that's also a great segue into a question. One of our attendees is asking, we have 1-year-old twins, and both my husband and I are working from home. Our daycare is closed, so we are their only caregivers. How would you approach this situation and discuss it with your team and manager when you are the only one on your team that has children?
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, again, I'll take that one. I think, see here, here's a prime example of just opening the door. Yeah. But I think, again, communication. I mean, even if you're not a parent yourself, there has to be some type of understanding of what's going on, right? And having twins, I have twin nieces, and raising twins, it's not an easy task at all, because you're giving your undivided attention at all times to two people every single minute. So just communicating that, and I know her and her husband definitely have to take turns in terms of the work, whether that be, I don't know how they would want to break it up, but let's say from a certain time to a certain time, let's say from 8 to 1, mom is on, from 1 to 4, dad is on, like something of that sort, to kind of help to kind of alleviate, so that the stress doesn't fall on just one individual, because it is tough, and they're relatively very young, and at that time, it's hard to tell them be quiet. They're 1-year-old, so they're running around, they're crawling, they're talking, there's so much going on at that time. So I think just, of course, number one, communicating to the team and to her boss, and trying to break up the work in terms between her and her husband. And I don't know if she has family or anything that's around, but just trying to get as much support as she can.
Yeah, I feel my heart goes out to the person who asked that question, because I can feel the pain. My 2-year-old not so far away from being 1-year-old that I remember that that's an age where they're starting to walk and they're falling. So you physically have to be trailing around them, making sure they don't hurt themselves in some cases. But another good thing about that age is that there's still nap time. And I'm not, by no means am I saying you can get all the work you need to get done during nap time, but you can potentially schedule your most important calls or meetings during that time, or at least go up, just for the people who don't have kids. I think that's a big part of this question, is how do you communicate with them that what's going on, because they have no idea. I didn't have any idea what that would mean until I had kids, to have 1-year-old twins. So you might have to go overboard and saying, okay, this is what it means. It means that from, whatever nap time, I'm good. I wake up at this time. You might have to be really transparent in a way that you would normally not have to be transparent about your personal life with your manager, especially if your manager doesn't have children.
Right. And Georgine, you brought up a good point about nap time, right? So that's one thing that for me, I have my kids do. They have to take a nap. I mean, they don't want to.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I still let them take a nap, because not only, it fuels their mind too, right? So they get to relax, get their energy going back up again. They're able to think better. But if I just have them sitting here, because it comes after a point in time, they're done with all their work, they have nothing to do. And, we really don't go outside as much, right? So I have to have them take a nap, between at least an hour nap, between 3 to 4. I had them nap. So good point.
Yeah.
That would definitely help.
So want to open it up again to questions as well. Please feel free to ask. But as we're approaching time, so before we all have to log off and get back to navigating home life and work life now, what's y'all's best advice for parents who are navigating this right now?
I think, there's no one size fits all approach. We're all figuring this out together. We're in different, stages. Everyone's in various stages in their life. They have, kids are different ages. One might have 1, one may have 5. So there's just so much going on. But, again, just communicate, share what's going on. Right now is really a time to be transparent. With those that you're working with, and even your loved ones. And, if you need help, ask for help as much as you can. And, just take it day by day. I mean, sometimes we just don't know, as much as we're parents and, we're women, and we want to have all the answers, but we just don't. And, we're just taking it step by step and day by day. And if you need help, reach out. There's people on LinkedIn that are going through the same thing. I connect with women. As soon as I see women, put a post up about, and, they'll have a picture with their child in the background. I always comment and, reach out to them hey, what are you doing? What are some of your tips? So I think as much as we can share and, really help one another, it's really going to help us out get through this time.
And I just saw someone wrote in, be kind to yourself. I couldn't agree with that more.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a lot of guilt all around, right? Because by definition, you're not going to feel amazing about your productivity, your parenting, anything at this time. And usually if you're a parent, you're last. Your needs are last. So God, yeah, like it's not going to be a perfect time. And I agree with you, Melina. We're just muddling through.
Yeah, someone also just shared that I think is applicable to everyone, whether you have children or not, is to breathe.
Yes.
Which is so important. Okay, we have an attendee question. So, and I think it's a really good one. I'm interested to hear y'all's thoughts. How are you explaining what's happening to your children? I don't want them to be scared, but I want them to understand the current situation.
I don't think, done an amazing job. I just try to be as objective as I can be with hard things, not with like big words, but just, there's a lot of people getting sick right now, and that's why you can't go outside to your favorite playground and you haven't seen your friends. We just have to be extra careful with our health and wash our hands. And that's pretty much where I leave it, because I don't think my kids from 2 to 7 can really understand that much more.
Yeah. I mean, my kids are well aware of what's going on. Again, they're a little bit older, so they're able to, grasp what's going on. And then even having to explain to them, like, if we do go outside, we're wearing a mask, and, as soon as we come home, we wash our hands. We're constantly using hand sanitizer if we're, for whatever reason, we're outside and we don't have access to water. Like, trying to get them into this new routine now. So, I just try to explain to them as best as I can so that they are aware of, what's going on and don't think it's my fault.
Yeah, it's definitely a tough thing to explain. But so this is the last call for questions. And so I'll give folks a few minutes if there are outstanding questions you want answered. In the meantime, we will be sending out this recording to everyone. You can access this and so many other great webinars on our past events page, which lives under the resource tab at fairygodboss.com. And we also have a group that we'll share with all of you after this called Navigating the New Normal. It's a great place to find support, positivity, inspiration as we are all kind of navigating this new normal. No pun intended. So with that, thank you all for, we got a question. So if there's one thing you could say to all the moms out there, what would it be? And I feel like that's such a wonderful note and positive note to close on.
I would say to not forget to take care of yourself, because everybody's relying on you, right? It shouldn't be this way, but I think moms still have this huge role to play in society. and in times of crisis, even like when I think about my relationship with my mother, right? All of a sudden I'm a child again, because it's like full of anxiety and fear and uncertainty. And I think so you got to take care of yourself so that you can be there for your family. And I mean, the same is true of dads, but I think it's easy to forget about yourself when you're trying to juggle work and home.
Yeah. I agree. And just to add to that, try to get as much rest as possible. Don't, overexhaust yourself. And, and if you can't, I'm learning more to say the word no. I know it's hard, but sometimes I'm just like, no, I can't do it right this minute. Just give me a minute. I think we need to exercise that a little bit more now. We're so used to saying, yes, I got it, we got it. And then we just are overloaded with things to do, and we can't even prioritize, don't even get any of it done. So I'm just learning how to say no as well. So, yeah.
Well, thank you both for taking time to share your insights and advice. And thanks to all of you who joined us, because we are all managing a lot right now. And so we appreciate you taking the time and being a part of the Fairygodboss community. And we are here for you through virtual programming online. We want to support you as we're all navigating this together. So I hope everyone has a wonderful afternoon, and stay healthy and wash your hands. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Bye.